All right, the big news has been revealed, and the future of Season of Discovery is slowly shaping into something promising. 100% increase to experience points, 20-man raids confirmed, more incentives for questing, all things the community and this channel have been directly fighting for over the last couple weeks. If you're a Season of Discovery fan, this is the perfect video for you because we're going to be taking a deep dive into what the best version of Season of Discovery can be, with a first look at everything coming soon in areas where the game can improve. My name is Sky from the Comeback Kids. Grab a cup of coffee and sit down. We got a lot to discuss today. Now, when Season of Discovery was first concepted, the developers made it very clear that they wanted alternate characters to be a major fixture of the experience. Playing classes you've never played, brand new roles being implemented, traveling across great lengths of Azeroth to find your class runes, and even perform incredible class-specific quest chains. This right here is what makes Season of Discovery's content much bigger than what it seems, because there's over 10 different classes to play and hundreds of brand new and never-before-seen content encounters. Of course, it isn't all sunshine and rainbows though, because it does take a lot of work to level up and progress these said characters. Now that we're in Phase 2 and the level cap has been increased to level 40, it takes a substantial amount of time to reach that cap, and a lot of players have felt a bit discouraged due to this being a seasonal realm where the level cap is roughly 2.5 months long. I mean, even coming from someone who has access to play the game quite often every day, it can feel a little bit daunting. I mean, leveling up, spending hundreds of golds on spells and mounts, progressing your crafting, finding all of your runes, it's something that can take a long time, and I'm sure for the average or casual player, it just seems like way too much to tackle. And with that being said, within just a couple of weeks of Phase 2 being released, the developers officially announced that our 50% experience boost from levels 1 through 25 will be substantially increased, ranging now from levels 1 through 39, and the experience boost being increased to 100%. So now not only will we level up 100% faster than we normally would, this duration shoots all the way up to level 39, where we have the opportunity to progress our alternate characters faster and shoot us directly into the end game where some of the most fun content is available. You have raiding, Stranglethorn PvP, crafting, playing with friends, testing out new classes. All of this now has become incredibly streamlined, and they're completely minimalizing the friction for doing so. Of course, though, there are people out there who may not be too happy with the decision, but I think we really need to try and understand what the purpose of something like this is. When a game is focusing purely on trying to allow the player the freedom to focus on how they want to play and take away grinds and friction within that said game, that's when it becomes good game design. Having systems or features in place that the design or sole purpose is to slow you down is when you start getting poor design. That's what made classic World of Warcraft so successful, where even though the progression was very daunting and slow, everything within the game felt so magical and meaningful. Looting your first green item, or picking up your first 6-slot bag, or even investing your very first talent point at level 10. These all felt so good, and the linear progression each time you logged in felt impactful. And Season of Discovery is supposed to be this sort of segue between classic and a seasonal realm where you can experience other classes as well, just much quicker because each phase is roughly 2.5 months long. So, shooting alternate characters directly into the endgame seems like nothing but a big win, in my opinion, and is easily one of the biggest features about this version of World of Warcraft. Now, the sole purpose of this video isn't to just clap it up and congratulate Season of Discovery, because there are things that can be improved upon. So I think we need to dive into what's needed to make the game the best version of itself it possibly can be. Now, playing alternate characters, completing the new level up raids, experiencing the new profession recipes, and participating in the new PvP events are all great and they're amazing additions to the game, but I think something that is seriously missing and something that needs to be addressed is the fact that Season of Discovery is lacking some sort of endgame loops or raw content to do on your main character. Very quickly, I'm finding myself inside of Phase 2 already, raid logging, and just doing the PvP event whenever I have the time on my main character. Once again, playing alternate characters is great, but it's only a matter of time before each of those new characters that I level up end up doing the same thing. Phase 1 is a perfect example, where eventually all of my characters ended up just raid logging, BFD, and running the Ashenvale PvP event whenever I had the extra time. And it's fun and it's entertaining, but it's a very similar content template that we saw from last phase that we're seeing today. So, Sky, what can be done? What do we need in terms of raw content? What are you suggesting? Well, when we're talking about a raw content perspective, a great example of this can be within the Burning Crusade expansion. One of these being the heroic dungeons, and many factions within the expansion you could farm reputations for to gain massive amount of rewards with tons of variety. For example, each of these 5 reputations had their own epic armor and weapon rewards for reaching Exalted, which took a good amount of time of work to obtain. For rogues, you can go get the Riftmaker dagger for getting Exalted with the Keepers of Time. For Feral Druids, you can go get the Earth Warden two-handed mace for reaching Exalted with the Sonarian expeditions. Then you had cosmetics like tabards and mounts to acquire as well for reaching high reps in the reputation that bring a great variety of appearances. You had incredible crafting recipes that make every profession out there viable for making gold or having its own specific importance, like the Nether Cobra armor enchanting for reaching Exalted with the Thrallmar for leatherworking, the Flask of the Titans for reaching Exalted with the Shatar that would increase your health by a ton, or the formula to enchant your weapons for extra healing power. Another incredible one was just the glyphs that everybody could obtain to enchant your helmet and just slap it on there, and each faction had a couple different types, some for extra spell power for caster DPS, some for extra defense for tanks, some for extra attack power and crit for melee DPS. All of these amazing rewards would be spread across all the different types of factions at different reputation levels. One of the coolest additions to all these factions was that when you were honored with them, you would actually obtain a key to access the heroic version of those said dungeons. And let me tell you, these heroic dungeons were difficult, but they gave you incredibly powerful epic rewards. On top of it though, each boss also dropped a badge, which can then be saved up and used to get incredible rewards at a vendor, so it always felt like you weren't wasting your time. And maybe since Season of Discovery is seasonal, to farm out your reputation faster, they can, do something similar to what they did inside of Wrath of the Lich King, which allowed your player to wear a tabard from those said reputations to gain a small amount of rep when you kill enemies inside of dungeons to make it a little bit more streamlined. A variety of reputations with rewards for every class that feel good to equip, exclusive profession recipes across a wide variety of reputation vendors, enchantments that would boost your character just a few points, but was rewarding if you took the time to go out and farm it, equipment vendor that sells strong items based off tokens you get from killing bosses inside of the endgame. All of these things are fantastic endgame loops that progress your character and make you always want to keep coming back and playing the game between the endgame raiding lockouts. Classic WoW is full of so many fantastic and memorable dungeons, and it's a bit of a shame that we never really need to go back into them once we are raid logging because, there's just nothing else we need from them ever again. There's no loot to obtain, there's no tokens to acquire, there's no reputations to farm out. This is content that is literally there that could be capitalized on, and I'm really hoping they take advantage of the opportunity and create something great out of it. I think the content we have right now in Season of Discovery is 100% fun, and it's refreshing and exciting. I just think if you add a bit more, you have yourself a massive amount to do for all of your characters instead of just raid logging and participating in the PvP event. One thing I am hopeful for, though, is that they did state they are currently planning to revamp many items from dungeons and raids at level 60. We did already see some of this coming into effect with the new dungeon rewards from Scarlet Monastery and Oldemon, so there's a very good chance they're going to continue this trend and rework these dungeons heading into the next phase, which could include Zul'Farrak, Sunken Temple, and maybe even Maradon if we're allowed to go in there. They even emphasized this fact by stating, "We think that adjusting the quality of rewards to a more consistent level between different raid sizes could help provide a larger menu of activities to do that all feel rewarding." Which this leads us to believe, ladies and gentlemen, that the smaller raid sizes later on in the game can give item rewards similar to power between all types of content, which can give us a really wide variety of, ways to earn the best gear possible, rather than raids like Zul'Grub simply being more of a catch-up raid. So in short, they want every raid size to have its own equal level of effectiveness and receiving rewards. My only concern, though, with this is simply going back to the point of having content to complete in between raid lockouts, so players aren't just raid logging and waiting around for the raids to reset their lockout schedule. Give us something to complete in between these days to keep us busy and active in the game. Going back to the point of raiding, it was also confirmed for the level 50 phase, the yet-to-be-announced raid is confirmed to be a 20-player experience. There have been loads of controversy between going back to the 40-man playstyle that was classic vanilla and keeping it small and continuing the trend of Season of Discovery with the 10-player experience. So, what did the developers do? They pretty much just met with us right in the middle and set the next raid as a 20-man player experience, which in my opinion is a very, very big win for the upcoming phases. The 10-man raiding is fantastic and it's fun to complete, but 10 people doesn't really feel epic enough, in my opinion. When I think of a raid, I think of at least 20 people going in to fight the hardest bosses out there on these incredible, vast battlefields that require tons of coordination and strategy. 40 players is awesome in its own way, but no way is it actually manageable to be able to get 40 people to raid every single week, because, let's be honest, it's hard enough to get 10 people as of right now if you're managing the raid. And speaking of raids also, we got some very interesting news over from the data miners working hard to get us information on the next phase, because it has been confirmed that Sunken Temple could very well be the next raid inside of Season of Discovery, because it is now on a 3-day lockout in the data mining. Additionally, it has a lock ID consistent with being the next raid in the game. Black Fathom Deeps has a lock ID of 21, Nomergan has a lock ID of 22, and Sunken Temple has a lock ID of number 23. This is a very strong indication that this dungeon is being made into another level up raid for Phase 3 when we reach level 50. Something even more interesting is that the dungeon's maximum player count has been changed from 5 to 10, but remember, it was revealed earlier that the next future raid inside of Phase 3 will be a 20-player raid size. Now, these are a lot of clues as to what could be coming in the next phase. If Sunken Temple stays as a 10-man raid, which it very well could be because there are a lot of low ceilings and the dungeon isn't that long, I mean, some of the boss rooms are very tight corridors and spaces. This means that the 20-player raid option could still be left on the table, and we could very easily be getting 2 raids for the level 50 phase. Now, in terms of the raid predictions, my guess is that it's most likely going to be Maraudon. Now, Maraudon is a set of dungeons that have incredible story that is vast and large with high ceilings and very memorable boss fights and quests to complete inside. It's a perfect dungeon to be converted into a 20-player raid next phase, and in my opinion, the obvious route for them to choose and expand upon, and I'm sure it's going to be a blast. I would, however, really love for them to take some risk and maybe give us something that we've never seen before. Don't get me wrong, I love BFD and the Nomergan raids. The fights are unique and exciting, and then you have the really useful crafting recipes inside are great, but at the end of the day, it is Nomergan and it is just BFD, and this is something we have experienced before when it comes to a visual perspective. If it was something brand new that we've never seen before, and I know it's very hard for me to just spitball and ask for something like that, but if it was, it would have been a 10 out of 10 perfect experience. So I'm hoping in the future, maybe for the level 60 phase, instead of maybe reworking some of these dungeons, they maybe give us something fresh and exciting like the Karazhan Crypts, maybe a Scarlet Crusade theme raid in the Plaguelands, or even a raid inside of Mount Hajal. Now, it's very important, ladies and gentlemen, to do your part now with this one. Leave your opinions on what we've discussed here in the comment section below, because I'm almost certain the developers or somebody is going to be checking on some of the ideas here, so please let us hear all about it. I think Season of Discovery is on track to do incredible things, and these developers are at the forefront in developing this game in the way the community wants it to be designed. It's almost become like a really solid co-development process between player and developer, so it's important to leave your opinions on the ideas in this video, such as, you know, having more reputation grinds, heroic dungeons, more rewards to chase after, elevating crafting recipes, you know, having multiple raids in one phase. I think one of the last things we're missing inside of Season of Discovery is really just some solid raw content to complete and solid gameplay loops for our characters. You sprinkle that in with 9 other classes you could play beside your main, and honestly, they could have me playing Season of Discovery for months on end every single day. Now, the question is, ladies and gentlemen, what do you want to see? And I'm being serious when I ask this question because it's incredibly important, and I really want to go over it with you all. So what do you honestly think can be added inside of Season of Discovery to increase the lifespan or improve the health of the game? These developers want to hear your voice, so please let me know about it in the comment section below. By the way, we are streaming now on Twitch as well. The link is in the description below. If you can, go over there, give us a follow. We're trying to get affiliated over there to, you know, keep the dream of making videos for you all live. If you guys enjoy the video, please be sure to like and subscribe to get absolutely flooded with Season of Discovery content. I want to thank you all so much for watching this video. It's an absolute pleasure to be making content for you all. Till the very end, my name is Sky from the Comeback Kids. I will see you all in the next one. Peace.